Hello and welcome to our training on the science of reading, Unit 1. I'm Dr. Weston Johnson, Principal Learning Coach with AlearnCoach LLC. I'm thrilled to be partnering with the Goodhue County Education District for this course. Before we dive in, I'd like to share a bit about my background. I've worked extensively in early reading intervention and as a dyslexia specialist, instructional coach, and data facilitator. My work is driven by a passion to support struggling readers and collaborate with teachers and parents to overcome learning challenges. In this video, as a part of Unit 1, we will be exploring essential principles of the science of reading. Each of these principles will help deepen your understanding of how the reading brain works and how to apply this knowledge to your instruction. By the end of this training, you'll be able to understand the foundational principles of the science of reading, grasp the implications of the science of reading for effective instruction, and begin applying these principles in your own classrooms. Let's get started. Imagine a student sitting in class, eyes glazing over as they struggle to decode the words on a page. Without the ability to read effectively, they're missing out on the joy of stories, the thrill of new information, and the foundational skills needed for every other subject. Reading isn't just another curriculum item, it's the key that unlocks lifelong learning and academic success across the board. That's where the science of reading comes into play. The science of reading is a comprehensive, research-based approach that delves into how we actually learn to read. It pulls together insights from psychology, neuroscience, linguistics, and education to give us a clear picture of the cognitive processes involved. For example, it explains how phonemic awareness and phonics are crucial for decoding words, and how vocabulary, background knowledge, and comprehension skills and strategies are essential for making meaning. But the science of reading isn't just about understanding the theory, it's about transforming our teaching practices. It provides evidence-based methods that have been proven to be effective in the classroom. This means moving beyond guesswork to strategies like systematic phonics instruction and explicit teaching of comprehension skills. By embracing the science of reading, we're better equipped to support all our learners, especially those who face reading difficulties, ensuring they have the tools they need to succeed, not just in school, but in life. To truly appreciate the impact of the science of reading, let's explore its core principles that form the foundation of effective reading instruction. First, explicit instruction. This means teaching each reading skill step by step, leaving nothing to guesswork. Imagine guiding students through the process of decoding words by directly explaining how letters represent sounds and how those sounds blend together. By providing clear explanations and modeling, we ensure students understand each concept thoroughly. As they progress, we gradually reduce support, fostering independence and proficiency. Next, the systematic approach. Think of this as building a staircase. Each step represents a skill that builds upon the previous one, moving from basic to more advanced levels. For example, we start with letter recognition before advancing to word formation. This carefully planned sequence helps students develop a solid foundation, making complex reading tasks more manageable as they grow. Lastly, early interventions are key. Addressing reading difficulties as soon as they appear can dramatically alter a student's learning path. If a student struggles with phonemic awareness, providing targeted support promptly can bridge gaps before they widen. Early interventions can prevent small hurdles from becoming significant roadblocks, helping all students stay on track toward literacy success. By embracing these core principles, explicit instruction, a systematic approach, and early interventions, we empower our students. We're not just teaching them to read, we're equipping them with the essential tools for lifelong learning and academic achievement. One of the most pivotal shifts in the science of reading is moving from balanced literacy to structured literacy. Let's explore what this means for us as educators, and more importantly, for our students. Structured literacy is like constructing a building with a solid blueprint. It's not limited to phonics instruction, it's a comprehensive approach that systematically addresses all essential components of literacy: phonics, fluency, vocabulary, comprehension, writing, spelling, and language. Each skill is taught explicitly and in a logical sequence. For example, we might start by teaching letter sounds before blending those sounds into words, then sentences, and then eventually to understanding entire texts. This ensures students build a strong foundation and progress through their reading development consistently. In contrast, balanced literacy is often seen as a more flexible, eclectic approach, blending phonics with other strategies like using context clues or pictures to guess words. While this method aims to integrate various aspects of reading, it often lacks a systematic and structured framework needed for consistent skill development. Imagine a student who relies on guessing words from pictures. When those visual cues are absent, they may struggle to read the text independently. The shift towards structured literacy is grounded in robust research showing its effectiveness for all students, especially those who struggle with reading. By explicitly teaching each component of reading in a systematic way, we help close the gaps that might be left by less structured methods, like balanced literacy. This means our students aren't just learning to read, they're mastering the skills necessary to become confident, proficient readers. Embracing structured literacy empowers us to provide instruction that is clear, consistent, and effective, ensuring every student has the opportunity to succeed. Phonics instruction is one of the foundational pillars of the science of reading. It emphasizes teaching the relationships between sounds and letters, essentially helping students understand how individual sounds correspond to specific letters or combinations of letters. For example, demonstrating how the sound f can be represented by F as in fun or PH as in phone. This knowledge is crucial because it equips students with the tools to decode unfamiliar words they encounter. Systematic phonics instruction takes us a step further by providing a structured, step-by-step approach to building decoding skills over time. Imagine guiding students through a sequence where they first master simple consonant and vowel sounds, then progress to blends like ST and stop, and eventually tackle more complex patterns like OUGH in though and through. This systematic progression helps students become fluent readers by ensuring they have a solid grasp of each concept before moving on. Research consistently backs the effectiveness of this approach, showing that systematic phonics instruction benefits all learners, especially those who struggle with reading. By focusing on phonics, we help students develop a reliable strategy for decoding words, which lays the groundwork for reading fluency and ultimately comprehension. In essence, phonics instruction doesn't just teach students to read, it unlocks the code of language, empowering them to confidently navigate the world of written words. While phonics is a critical foundation in reading instruction, the science of reading also emphasizes skills that extend beyond decoding letters and sounds to develop full language comprehension. First, vocabulary is essential. Students need a rich vocabulary to truly understand the meaning of what they read. For instance, knowing words like photosynthesis or democracy is crucial when exploring science or social studies texts. Without a strong vocabulary, decoding words alone won't lead to meaningful comprehension. Another key element is critical thinking. The science of reading encourages students to actively engage with texts, going beyond just reading words to analyze, infer, and make connections. For example, when students read a story, they might predict what will happen next, discuss the motivations of characters, or relate the themes to their own experiences. This deepens their understanding and makes reading a more interactive process. Finally, integrated writing plays a significant role in language comprehension. Writing activities allow students to express and organize their thoughts, reinforcing what they've read. For instance, after reading a passage about environmental conservation, students might write a persuasive letter on why protecting the planet is important. This not only deepens their comprehension, but also enhances their ability to communicate effectively. By focusing on these components, vocabulary development, critical thinking, and integrated writing, we help students build the comprehensive skills necessary for meaningful reading. Together, they transform reading from a mechanical process into a rich, engaging experience. Understanding the science behind how the brain reads gives us powerful insights into why structured approaches to reading instruction are so effective. When a student encounters a new or unfamiliar word, they rely on the phonological path. Think of this as taking the scenic route. It's slower and requires more effort because it involves decoding each sound individually, then blending them together to form the word. For example, a child might see the word bat and think b, a, t, before blending those sounds to pronounce bat. This method is typically for early readers or anyone encountering new vocabulary. Over time, as students practice and become more familiar with words, their brains begin to use the lexical path. This is like hopping onto the expressway. It allows them to recognize familiar words by sight without needing to sound them out. Essentially, it's a faster, more efficient pathway where the brain identifies words automatically, almost instantly. For instance, when we see common words like the and, we don't need to decode them, we recognize them immediately. This shifts from phonological decoding to lexical recognition, which is crucial for developing reading fluency. It's fascinating to realize that reading isn't an innate skill. Our brains aren't naturally wired for it. Learning requires the brain to adapt and repurpose neural networks originally developed for other functions like object recognition and spoken language. This neural rewiring shows why a structured approach to reading, where skills are built progressively and systematically, is so important. By supporting the brain's adaptation through systematic instruction, we make reading a more fluent and efficient process for our students. In essence, understanding how the reading brain works underscores the value of structured literacy instruction. It allows us to align our teaching methods with the way the brain learns to read, ensuring we provide the most effective support for our students' reading development. Reading challenges are more common than we might think. The science of reading provides effective strategies for identifying and supporting students who face these challenges. Many students struggle in three main areas: word recognition, reading fluency, and comprehension. For example, difficulties with word recognition can make reading a slow and laborious process, causing students to expend so much effort decoding words that they lose the thread of the text. This often leads to fluency issues where reading lacks smoothness and expression. Imagine a student halting reading each word without rhythm or intonation. Comprehension problems may cause students to miss key ideas or themes, affecting their engagement and making it hard for them to connect with the material. There are also specific reading disorders that can intensify these challenges. Dyslexia, for instance, impacts both word recognition and fluency, making it difficult for students to decode words accurately and quickly. Hyperlexia is a condition where students can decode words well, sometimes exceptionally, but they struggle to understand the meaning behind them. Then there's alexia, often resulting from a brain injury where previously learned reading skills are lost, requiring specialized interventions to regain them. Addressing these challenges requires targeted, evidence-based support that increases in intensity based on each student's needs. For example, a student with word recognition difficulties might start with explicit phonics instruction to strengthen their understanding of sound-letter relationships, progressing to more intensive practice if necessary. To support fluency, strategies could include repeated reading exercises and partner reading activities to build speed and expression. For comprehension issues, approaches might involve guided reading sessions with content-rich texts and focused vocabulary development, gradually introducing more complex materials as students improve. By tailoring interventions based on ongoing assessment data, we ensure that our support is structured, adaptive, and increasingly intensive to match each student's unique needs. This personalized approach not only addresses their current challenges, but also empowers them with the skills they need for future reading success. In the science of reading, assessment isn't just a formality. It's a vital tool that guides our instruction and ensures every student receives the support they need. We start with benchmark screening assessments. Think of these as routine health checkups for reading. They're brief, periodic checks administered to all students to identify those who may be at risk for reading difficulties. For example, at the beginning of the school year, we might assess students' ability to recognize letter sounds or reading fluently. This initial screening helps us target students who need additional attention early on. Next, we have diagnostic assessments, which provide a deeper dive into a student's reading skills. These assessments examine specific areas such as phonemic awareness, vocabulary, or comprehension. For instance, if a student struggles with decoding, the diagnostic assessment can pinpoint whether the issue lies with phonics or perhaps phonemic awareness. Diagnostics are invaluable in designing targeted interventions tailored to each student's unique needs. Progress monitoring assessments are like the GPS of our instructional journey. They track each student's growth over time and show us how well our interventions are working. By regularly checking in on student progress, perhaps every couple of weeks or weekly, we can make timely adjustments to our instruction, ensuring it remains effective and responsive. For example, if a student isn't improving in fluency as expected, we might introduce additional fluency building activities. Finally, outcome assessments are used at the end of units or the school year to measure a student's overall reading achievement. These are closely aligned with summative evaluations that offer a snapshot of a student's performance. For example, an end of semester reading comprehension test can help us gauge how well students are understanding and analyzing texts, providing insights that inform future instructional planning. Together, these assessment types enable us to deliver precise, individualized instruction that adapts to each student's evolving needs. By thoroughly integrating assessments into our practice, we ensure that all students develop a strong foundation in reading. The science of reading emphasizes key instructional shifts that make literacy instruction more effective and align with the latest research. First, a shift towards structured literacy. Instead of piecing together different, often disconnected instructional methods, we adopt a cohesive, well-organized framework. Structured literacy integrates all aspects of reading instruction, such as phonics, vocabulary, fluency, comprehension, and writing, in a systematic and sequential manner. For example, rather than teaching phonics in isolation or planning vocabulary instruction sporadically, we weave these together in our instructional plans, and our lessons build upon the last, progressively enhancing students' reading skills. Next, phonics-driven decoding replaces outdated guessing strategies. In the past, students were often encouraged to guess words based on pictures or context clues. However, this can lead to misunderstandings and hinder reading development. Phonics-driven decoding teaches students to sound out words using sound-spelling relationships. For instance, when encountering the word chat, students learn to associate each letter or letter combination with its corresponding sound, ch, a, t, and blend them to read the word accurately. This approach strengthens reading accuracy and fluency, giving students a reliable method for tackling unfamiliar words. Finally, in-depth phonics instruction is essential. Rather than offering brief or service level phonics lessons, we emphasize detailed, systematic instruction that builds a solid foundation in sound letter relationships. This means spending ample time each teaching students the various phonemes and graphemes and how they combine to form words. For example, exploring digraphs like the sh in ship or vowel teams like o in boat. This comprehensive approach helps students truly understand and apply decoding skills across a wide range of words. By embracing these instructional shifts toward structured literacy, phonics-driven decoding, and in-depth phonics instruction, we help students build a strong, interconnected foundation in reading skills. This not only supports their growth as confident, fluent readers, but also empowers them with the tools they need for lifelong learning. Let's bring everything together and highlight the key takeaways from the science of reading. First, the science of reading is a long-term research-based framework, grounded in decades of studies from psychology, neuroscience, and education. It's not just a passing trend, but a well-established approach. Think of it as a GPS for teaching reading. It provides a clear roadmap on how students learn best and how we can teach most effectively. Second, structured, evidence-based instruction is essential. This isn't just important for some students, it's crucial for all, especially those who face reading challenges. By using explicit, systematic instruction, we help students build vital reading skills in areas like phonemic awareness, phonics, fluency, vocabulary, and comprehension. For example, teaching phonics systematically helps students decode new words confidently, while explicit vocabulary instruction enhances their understanding of complex texts. And finally, a data-driven approach is key. By using assessments to guide our instruction, we can tailor our teaching to meet each student's unique needs. This means employing targeted strategies like providing additional phonics support for a student struggling with decoding, or offering advanced comprehension activities for those ready to dive deeper. Regular assessments help us monitor progress and adjust our methods, ensuring every student is supported effectively. By embracing these principles, a research-based framework, structured instruction, and data-driven teaching, we equip our students with the tools they need to become strong, confident readers and writers. Together, we're preparing them not just for academic success, but for a lifetime of learning and discovery.